I've talked about ThinkPads, I've talked about yogas. Today, it's an IdeaPad from Lenovo. Hello everyone, how are you? This is yours truly, Tech Gear Guy, coming at you once again. And today I have a Lenovo IdeaPad S340. Okay, so what is an IdeaPad? So ThinkPads are usually for like a business enterprise class laptops. And then IdeaPad, I think, and then the yogas obviously they have for consumers that's looking for higher end trim levels and such. Whereas the IdeaPad, they actually cover pretty wide gamut, and the S340 that we have today, it's affordable, it's lightweight, and surprisingly it doesn't suffer in terms of performance either. In terms of the laptop's exterior, you are looking at basically very clean appearance, pretty minimum branding, and just an Intel sticker with the IdeaPad 340 sticker right here, and just a pretty standard affair on the bottom. Doesn't look garish. There is no garish RGB lights just blasting at you, nothing like that. It's very clean and uncluttered appearance, albeit it is a bit plasticky. Now it is not the like rubberized exterior, the matte black exterior of the ThinkPads. It's a little bit more plasticky. However, it actually does a really good job in terms of not picking up oily fingerprints if you have oily hands. As far as the chassis itself is concerned, it's actually pretty well built, whereas the lid flex is very respectable, and there is pretty much no flex at all on the bottom either. So it's pretty well solid and sturdy built. Now this video is being shot middle of July 2019, and it is currently, this particular model is currently available for $599 US, and I'll tell you why that's a good value in a bit. And considering the price point, you are getting a display panel that has a very thin bezel, which is something you often find on higher end models and trim levels, such as XPS from Dell and a Huawei MateBook, so on and so forth. So at $599 price point, you're getting a bezel this thin, which makes it possible for the total package to be light and portable. It's a plus. Now that we talked about the exterior features, let's look into the laptop a little bit more in depth. The laptop is packing Intel 8th generation Core i5 quad-core 8265U. It is, I believe the base clock is 1.9 gigahertz, and then I believe you could boost it up to 3.8, 3.9, somewhere around there. So plenty of CPU power for a lot of your typical type of work. And it is packing LPDDR4 12 gigabytes of RAM and 512 gigabytes of NVMe M.2 storage solid state. The laptop supports a full HD 1080p TN panel display, which is a bit dull to me in terms of a color is concerned, but for your day-to-day productivity work, office work, or if you happen to be a student and for your school-related work, absolutely no problem at all. Being such a thin laptop, they did not skimp out on ports. You do have a pretty decent selection of ports. You have a power adapter connector, and which is a barrel type connector, not a USB-C. And then there's a full HDMI port, USB Type-C, and then an audio jack. And then on the other side, you have two full-size USB 3.1 ports, and then full SD card slot, which rounds out the port. And there's nothing on the back side or the front. The speakers are positioned towards the front, but they fire sideways, which is great, and the audio quality actually is pretty decent. Of course, they market this laptop having Dolby Atmos audio. How improved that really provides your audio experience. For a set of laptop speakers, they do more than fine, pumping out a pretty decent volume without distortion. So let's talk about what I like about this laptop. First, it starts with very minimum bloatware. Matter of fact, I don't think there was any bloatware, although I do count McAfee antivirus pre-installed as a bloatware, because I don't want that. Who wants that? Secondly, the keyboard with the little smiley face bottom, you know, the chiclet style, island style keyboard, it's a trickle down from, you know, legendary ThinkPad keyboards. Although I do feel like it's a slightly more mushy in terms of travel compared to ThinkPad, but that might be just my personal feeling. I don't know if they use different mechanism underneath each keys or not. Another highlight of the laptop is obviously its very portable, very thin size, and at a really affordable price. For $599 and you're getting this kind of a performance and spec, that is remarkable if you ask me. And because they're giving you 15.6-inch screen, the chassis obviously is a bit wide, which means they're able to give you full number pad, which obviously helps you with those of you office workers doing, you know, Excel number crunching all day. Inclusion of the number pad obviously is a big hit. And as I mentioned earlier, decent selection of I/O input output ports. You know, I mean, you do have everything, just about everything you need, whether you're a traveling salesman that need to hook up to a projector at your client site. You have, you know, old legacy style USB flash drives. You could do that without a dongle. And you have the USB Type-C on this side. So basically, you might be able to get away without living that dongle life. And then also, as I mentioned earlier, the trickle-down technology from the ThinkPad line of products, very evident in this IdeaPad, and that obviously bodes very well. And to round out the, you know, what is good about the laptop, the value proposition for $599, 8th generation Kaby Lake i5, 12 gigs of RAM, 512 gigs of solid state. That should about carry you for a good couple of years, regardless of who you are, unless you're an intense gamer. So what do I not like about the laptop? So obviously you're not buying an IdeaPad S340 for any heavy duty gaming. Now, I don't really care about the synthetic benchmarks, but I will include the benchmark numbers right now on the screen. So as you can see, it does just fine in terms of any sort of a day-to-day work. It falls short on any sort of a 3D rendering, any kind of heavy graphic intense work such as video games. And I mean, to see the laptop struggle through the 3D mark was very, very painful. So one of the things that I am not happy about is that the battery is just built in and it's not something user changeable, and that is actually expected of. I say that as a negative, but you know, when you have a chassis this thin and this portable, getting away from a changeable battery is almost a requirement. And even though it's not interchangeable, the battery life is remarkably good. So when I say, when I'm talking about what I don't like about the laptop, and yet here's something that I'm gonna share with you that is a positive, and that is the battery runs well past 8 hours with the screen brightness at about 80%. Many Chrome tabs open, doing normal straight office work. I actually shut the laptop down after clocking in 8 hours, so it'll go well beyond that. So battery not being changeable is something that I will note as a negative. Another thing that I could nitpick about is that the inclusion of a barrel connector instead of a USB Type-C charging. At this point in 2019, why should any laptop not charged via USB Type-C is beyond me, but that is what they give you. Power brick is about the size of a MacBook Pro, and unlike the MacBook Pro chargers from Apple, the thing doesn't flip in, so these two prongs are always sticking out, which is but it is lightweight, it is very portable. And one of the main negative things that I will personally nitpick about is the quality of the TN panel. So it is roomy, it's obviously 15.6 inches, and you know, it more than enough serves its purpose, but the color is a bit flat, and that's coming from a man who is colorblind. I am red deficient, so I do have a problem identifying colors depending on circumstances. And this, you know, the laptop has a color representation that is somewhat lackluster, if you ask me. All right, and then another thing that I will note before I wrap up this review video is that the USB Type-C is just USB Type-C. It's not Thunderbolt. All right, so with that said, I have talked about what I like about this laptop, what I don't like about this laptop. It is remarkably quiet. I don't think I've heard the fans kick on even when it was struggling mightily with the 3D rendering, 3D Mark test. So overall, this is an awesome package, you guys. For $599, you could do a lot worse. And you know, for you to get all that power, and they did not skimp out on your storage. It's not like they're giving you 128 gigabyte like freaking Apple does. Apple refreshed their MacBook Pro line just right now, and the base model at $1299, they give you 128 gig. I believe they still give you Mac Mini for with 128 as a base, but I could be wrong there. But anyhow, so they're giving you NVMe M.2 512 and your 12 gigs of RAM, which should be plenty enough for any sort of day-to-day work. So I mean, it is very well equipped, and you could do a lot worse. I mean, it's built so well. The chassis is strong. You could toss it inside of your briefcase to take it in and out all day long. And with one full charge, you could last all day long at your office. You don't have to have a charger with you. So all that really speak highly of this laptop, and it would be one of those laptops that I could recommend highly. It does lack some of the enterprise computing features, such as trusted platform modules, things of the nature. But if you're buying this laptop, it is not being bought by your IT department. You are buying it yourself out of your own pocket. So, you know, the operating system being Windows 10 Home, lacking enterprise features such as TPM, like I mentioned, shouldn't be a big concern. So with that, I'll wrap up this particular episode. But if you liked it, please hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification, hit the like button, because within the next couple of weeks, I am coming at you again with the X1 Carbon. That video is coming up, and then I will also do another video of, is it still relevant? Should it still be considered? And that round of video would be Microsoft Surface Pro 6, whether it should still be considered in year 2019. All right, so with that, I'll wrap this up. Thank you for your time watching, and until next time, you guys all take care.